In 1884, Elder Wilford Woodruff spoke from the back of a wagon to a gathering of Latter-day Saints on the prairies of southeastern Idaho.
I can see these great sagebrush prairies as far as the eye can reach, turned into fertile fields. I bless the land that it shall yield forth in its strength. Flowers and trees and fine homes shall grace this great valley from one end to the other. Schools and colleges of higher learning shall be built to serve you, that you may learn the mysteries of God's great universe.
4 years later, as president of the church, Wilford Woodruff's vision of schools in Idaho expanded to include a Latter-day Saint private school system stretching along the Rocky Mountains and throughout the Great Basin. Housed in stately buildings that loomed over the sagebrush desert, these stake academies symbolized the saints' faith in the power of education and their commitment to build Zion, no matter the challenge. President Woodruff's call for the academies could hardly have come at a more challenging time for the Latter-day Saint families in far-flung settlements across the West.
In 1887, the federal government passed the Edmunds-Tucker Act, which disenfranchised church membership. Those who believed in or practiced plural marriage disincorporated the church and allowed the federal government to seize church property. Church leaders went on the underground. Fathers fled to the hills, fearing persecution and fearing imprisonment. And in that era, the church academies were established, largely to protect and support families as they were being driven apart by the Edmunds-Tucker Act and the federal government.
A series of letters sent by the prophet to be read in every ward of the church called for each stake to establish an academy, a refuge for the children of a threatened Zion.
The Brigham Young Academy at Provo and the Brigham Young College at Logan are both doing excellent work. In no direction can we invest the means God has given us to better advantage than in the training of our children in the principles of righteousness and in laying the foundation in their hearts of that pure faith which is restored to the earth. We would like to see schools of this character started in all places where it is possible. Wilford Woodruff.
The stake's response was immediate. The call came in June of 1888, and schools were up and running by that fall. Within 14 months, 20 of the 21 stakes in Utah had established academies. Within a period of 2 or 3 years, all but one of the stakes in the entire church had appointed a principal and was preparing to establish an academy.
In all, more than 30 academies were eventually established, forming a school system stretching well over 1,000 miles from Colonia Juarez, Mexico, to Alberta, Canada. Learning by the light of hanging coal oil lamps in the local co-op, over 100 students ranging from 11 to 30 years old attended the first classes at Ephraim, Utah's Sand Beach Stake Academy on November 5th, 1888. Just months after Wilford Woodruff's call to the stakes. The school quickly outgrew the co-op and the larger North Ward Chapel, which accommodated 200 students. The community drew together, raising funds, materials, and labor to build a home for their academy. Most everyone had cows and donated milk for cheese making. Everyone had sheep and contributed wool for quilt making. Quilts, cloth, carpet, socks, soap, sugar were donated. Workmen were glad to get these products as part payment for their labor. Each donation was essential for the completion of the building, which, when dedicated in 1909 as the Snow Academy, contained 33 classrooms and an auditorium capable of seating 600 people. Members in the Juarez, Mexico stake gathered for a town meeting when their academy outgrew its already small home.
If heads of families dreaded another building burden or questioned their ability to be taxed further, it was not apparent in the number who packed the house in answer to the summons. Every bench was filled with eager patrons, and desks were pushed in from the side rooms to accommodate the enthusiastic men, women, and children who flocked in to support.
When the stake president arose and outlined his dream for Academy campus, his speech was greeted not with profound silence, but with immediate bids for a chance to contribute.
Bids that came so fast and in such volume that Professor Wilson was forced to call a halt, and in a voice touched with emotion to beg them to take their turn and give the clerk a chance to make proper recordings. Kenyon Wagner.
When the meeting closed 2 hours later, everyone in the room had contributed either cash or labor or both. In all, $12,000 had been donated. Nell Spilsbury Hatch.